8:13, welcome to Island Tea for Wednesday, June 26, as St. Kitts Music Festival 2024 heats up, and we got our girl back. Morning, Kate.
Morning.
Good morning to everyone. I trust that everyone is having a wonderful morning so far. It is indeed the 26th of June 2024, and I trust and I hope that this morning everyone is doing well. Everyone is doing well. You understand? It is a beautiful morning here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Okay. Kortensia, how has it been for you? What is on your mind? It has been so many things happening.
Well, I'll let you start this morning. So good morning to the Federation, the international diaspora, the regional diaspora. For all those who take the time out to listen to us in the morning, we appreciate you. So, AZ, I'll let you go.
Okay, so this morning while I was looking at some articles, something was really forwarded, and it's something that happened a while ago, and it was reported in the Antigua News. So and it's also
In the Antigua News? What's
it's
that?
Antigua News, I tell you. So, and I said, I looked at it this morning, even though I would have heard it, but it's really saying this. So it's Antigua.news, and it says, and we all know, it says it seemed to have been written on the 22nd by an editorial staff writer, the 22nd of June and 2024, and it says here, Dr. Denzel Douglas hit with MSR Media recall lawsuit in cabinet. This is what it's saying, and it's saying that in an unprecedented legal move, Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Denzel Douglas was served with the MSR Media recall lawsuit during a cabinet meeting on June 17, 2024, sending shockwaves through the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Prime Minister Dr. Drew has issued a statement denying any involvement or misconduct. It says here, sources confirmed that the MSR Media recall lawsuit, which named several high-ranking officials, including Dr. Denzel Douglas, was delivered in a highly unusual setting, a session of the government's cabinet. The article goes on to say this breach of protocol raises questions about the security measures and the potential involvement of other government figures. It goes on to say the incident not only brings legal challenges for Dr. Douglas, but could also have significant repercussions for the unity and functionality of the government. Legal experts suggest that the manner of the lawsuit's delivery could imply serious breaches of trust within the highest ranks of the government. The public response has been one of the concern and astonishment, with many citizens and international observers questioning the stability of the government. This incident could potentially lead or could potentially affect the political landscape of St. Kitts and Nevis, influencing the upcoming elections and international relations. It goes on to say, as the situation unfolds, the focus remains on the forthcoming legal strategies and how this might affect the governance of St. Kitts and Nevis. Political analysts are watching closely as the implications of this lawsuit could redefine political allegiance, alignments, and governance strategy within the Caribbean region. So that was a mouthful based on what has been said, Dr. Denzel Douglas being served in cabinet. So this article is saying that he has been served with papers. I know persons have indicated that before, but what they are doing based on what has been said is basically implying that there is some sort of instability based on the manner in which service was conducted. I don't know if there are persons out there who feel the same way. I don't know if persons feel as though the way in which service was done to him, as indicated in this article, suggests that there would be some instability, or suggests that there is some sort of issues between Dr. Douglas and Dr. Terence Drew.
So what is being said is that he was served the papers while in cabinet? Is that allowed?
Well, service of documents, usually when you have court files, persons would meet you at different places. Sometimes you meet you on your place of work and they serve you documents. Yeah. So you might be served at home, or some persons may take it to your work. I guess they're thinking that we're going to take it to his job, which is in cabinet. But I think what persons are suggesting is that,
he could have been prevented being served whilst in cabinet.
And they say maybe, I think, because, persons talk about it on the road, and some of the suggestions are, some of the views are, he could have been served elsewhere. When you're being served in cabinet, it seemed like a statement is being made. You understand? That a statement is being made.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking if he could have been served whilst he was in his office and not in cabinet itself, or even at his home.
So persons are suggesting, and this article is suggesting, that the place of service indicates some sort of instability and perhaps more than meets the eye in terms of
this just seems like somebody's trying to cause big corruption, because they're basically saying if you could have stopped him from being served there and kept it a bit more private, then
it is seen too when you serve someone, a minister like that, the suggestion is that it's ought to embarrass.
Yeah, but it's embarrassing not only the minister, it's embarrassing the country too, because that's your minister of foreign affairs. What light would other ministers from other countries look at him in now? Because the mere fact that he's being served and in parliament,
but
his credibility is going to be.
But it embarrasses regular people too. So
yeah, I know, but just look at it.
Jamso, you know what he does? He dropped this bombshell and just go.
No, but
I know. But yeah. I mean, service is done, because when you serve some persons, being a lawyer, you have documents and you serve persons and you serve them. Sometimes the process server will serve and the work because they feel as though this is the best place.
Look at the credibility for the country, because he's the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
I understand, but I don't know. I don't know if the rules. I thought I was seeing somewhere that there were rules about where you can and cannot be served.
There are certain guidelines, yes, but but I think what the article is suggesting, and coming out from the article, is saying that if you serve a minister in cabinet, there's somewhat the suggestion that it is meant to embarrass. Do you feel that way, Jamster?
Not necessarily, unless I know that I will have to see the rules of the court concerning.
But without seeing the rules of the court, do you think that it is a sort of embarrassment? Do you think that it is a suggestion that you're
they're setting out to embarrass you?
Yes, you think that they're setting out to embarrass you?
Not necessarily, because the person's doing their job.
Okay.
The bailiff is doing his job. I don't see.
No, it wasn't a trick question. I just want to know your views.
I know.
Yes. So,
question, you think you can trip me up?
No, I don't think so at all.
Absolutely not.
We
have a call here.
We have a caller. Caller, you're live on Island T.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Are you all saying conclusively that Dr. Douglas was served this lawsuit in the cabinet?
We're saying that there is information going out suggesting that he was served in cabinet, and we're saying that you believe that Azard? Well, this was there is talk.
Take your political hat off.
No.
Do you believe that he was served in cabinet?
I at this point in time, there's so many things going around, Mr. Astafad.
No, man, this is not a tough question.
I cannot say.
This is not a tough question.
No, I'm not saying that is a tough question, but you asked me a question. Allow me to answer the question as best as I can.
The source you read, I assume.
It's Antigua. It says Antigua.news. I did.
I was half listening.
Antigua.news will have gotten it from somebody in St. Kitts.
But Mr. Astafad.
First of all, we have to be careful what we reproduce in the media.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying
these days when everybody has access to the media and responsibility is not particularly fashionable, and people are not trained to control the information which they receive, so they just pass it on.
Are you saying that the article, what the article is saying, are you saying that otherwise was done?
Not because the article says so. Means that the article is to be given credibility.
Okay, and I understand what you're saying, Mr. Astafan.
You know the cabinet. You were close to the last government. Yeah, but you know the cabinet. It's not easy to get into. there's security, there's the reception outside. If somebody brings a document to serve on a member of cabinet, there are lots of time, people know where everybody lives and so on. There's lots of time and opportunity to serve. Why would that be a credible option that go in cabinet? How is the bailiff going to get into the cabinet?
And that is why, and I am glad you made that point, because that is why a lot of persons are saying that there could be, if this is true, Mr. Asafan, and allow me to speak now because I did allow you to speak, okay? So they're saying that if this is true that he was served in cabinet, and based on what you have just said in terms of the number of security and what would have to have happened, that is why the article is suggesting, if true, that there might have been some involvement or there might be some division.
This is where the mischief is, the if. This is where the mischief is, the if.
Okay.
The whole article is built on the if and really not caring about the practicality and the sensitivities of it.
But have
Dr. Douglas is not afraid to Dr. Douglas is not afraid to receive a writ. There are many other places where he can receive a writ. At his home, people can wait for him to serve him in cabinet and so. I mean, this is so extreme and in my opinion, so extreme, so unnecessary, and to me, so mischievous.
Okay.
I mean, there are more important things to talk about, in my opinion.
I mean,
I can't tell you all what to discuss.
But Mr. Asafan,
but it seems as though you all are giving this credibility.
No. I said what the source was. I said that I read from the source. I did. And I said that if it is true, it is suggesting this. You understand? You have a different opinion.
You're giving a nothing burger. You're putting meat in a nothing burger.
It is your opinion that it's a nothing burger, but this is a lot of talk about this situation is happening on the ground. Persons are speaking about it. I'm not saying that a lot of people.
On the ground?
Yes, Mr. Asafan. And I'm not saying that.
Trained people?
Amongst who?
Trained people who have experience and know how these things go?
Let me say.
Extreme. What I'm saying, Azard, with respect, there are so many other opportunities to serve. Dr. Douglas is not hiding from anybody.
And that is what a lot of persons are saying. They're agreeing with you. He's not hiding. So if it is that he was serving cabinet, persons are saying if that is true, then it is sending some signals. And that is all that we were here talking about. But of course, you have a view, and it's okay for you to express your view as you may. You understand. And so what you're saying is that, you don't believe that he was actually indeed served in cabinet. That's what you're saying, is it? Let me say.
Well, I think that is too extreme to be given any practical time and attention.
Okay.
I mean, if it happened, it would be perhaps the most extreme service and in the history of St. Kitts.
And that is what when persons are hearing and persons are talking about they're saying that if that is true, then that shows some very levels of concern.
But I think what he's saying is that probably in the larger scheme of things, what people are saying about that, given some of the other grave matters that and issues we have facing us.
But just yesterday, Jamstop, persons called in and persons said they love the fact. I think it was Mr. Culture. Let's remember that call. And Mr. Culture said he loves the fact that we speak to a number of things that, is in the social media, on the ground. So it's not for us to pick and choose. Maybe it's not important to Mr. Estefan, this thing. But to other persons, it could be of great importance to them and concern. So let's not take it from a person-to-person standpoint, you understand? Because we're all going to have at our own opinions on things where we put priority, okay?
But you say it's not for you to pick and choose, but you are picking and choosing.
You
want to discuss.
No, but persons send a number of things to me in relation to things that they have heard, they have seen, and sometimes in matters of discussion. You understand? I sometimes look at it. I sometimes, from my discretion, would read and would address it. But I'm saying, just like you can call in and say, well, you don't think that is of great importance, others can do the same. And you too have expressed your views on a number of issues. And so there might have been issues that you express your views on, and persons might have thought, well, why are we paying attention to this? So we can't think about ourselves in such a manner to think that, what's important to me might not be important to someone else.
Azard, you're a lawyer. You have sufficient contacts to find out actually how service was effected.
I read an article that was presented and written. I said, if it is true, and
but you have a lawyer. You are a lawyer.
So let's not get into that, okay?
What do you mean,
Let's not get into that.
If you're in a position to know better,
Let's not get into that.
the public.
You understand? I read an article. I've read several articles before. Why is this giving so much?
Could be a million articles. That's not the point, Azard.
Why are you giving this?
You're a lawyer.
Why are you
can find out how service was effected and tell the public, yes, service was effected in the cabinet, or no, it wasn't. You can find out.
Why
that is not anything people need to hide.
Why I feel, Mr. Asafan, respectively so, that this is a sore spot for you, and the way in which. And
come on, you're trying to distract me. Anyway. I think I've had enough of your
time. Okay, guys.
Thanks for the time, man.
No problem. We do appreciate your opinion. We do appreciate your opinion. We have Social Security right now. Yes.
Okay, so for whatever reason that let's take a quick break and come back.
Found the sound 98.9. Time is money, and you can save both with CIBC Caribbean. Set up our automatic monthly savings transfers and watch your money grow. Just pick an amount, an end date, and your money will transfer into your savings account each month. So whether it's your little one's future education abroad, a dream car, or a house you can call home, set it and forget it, so you can focus on the now and enjoy the then. Bump up your savings account or open one at CIBC Caribbean.
Join us for the ultimate Jerk Fest at Jammark Restaurant and Bar. June 29, 10 a.m. at Jammark Restaurant in Frigate Bay. Prepare your taste buds for an explosion of flavors at the home of jerk. Featured dishes: jerkfish, mutton, chicken, shrimp, pork, ribs, conch, pigtail, and hot dogs. Featured sides: roast breadfruit, sweet potatoes, yam, festival, and garlic bread. Entertainment by DJ Yachty and EK The Real Right. All this event is brought to you by Carrick Brewery and ODB. Don't miss out on the St. Kitts Music Festival hottest culinary event. See you at Jammark Restaurant and Bar, where the jerk is always sizzling and the vibes are unforgettable. Come hungry, leave happy.
Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
Everybody beware, you better prepare. Disaster can happen anytime, anywhere. Everybody beware, you better prepare. Disaster can happen anytime, anywhere.
Comprehensive disaster management is about every one of us being ready to manage any natural or man-made event like hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, fires, oil spills, or volcanoes. It's about having your home or business prepared with an emergency plan as applied. It's prevention. Keeping your home, business, or community well maintained and safe. It's about being able to get your life back on track after the event. Will you be ready? Visit NEMA.kn or log on to NEMA SKN on Facebook.
Everybody beware, you better prepare. Disaster can happen anytime, anywhere. Everybody beware.
Health insured to be sure of your benefits. Sickness and maternity, I'll tell you about the rest of it. Survivors grant your spouse and kids get the best of it. Let me mention pension when you're 62. When you're done work hard and retire, this is what to do. Listen, this Social Security is working for all your benefits. Funeral grant to help every one of your relatives. Come register for this Social Security.
And welcome back to Island Tea. And in the house, we have the lovely Camilla Lawrence. She will take us into our, what is it called?
Because you deserve a future radio program.
Okay,
You know
okay.
you know that Social
I'm sorta,
Security
kinda.
music coming in just gives you a little vibe.
Oh, and
Yeah.
you know.
So, like,
Gives you a little vibe.
what do I call it? I'm trying to, but then she said,
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
So we're here with Miss Lawrence. It's all about Social Security, and so for the next until 9 o'clock, we're going to be talking about Social Security. So, Miss Lawrence, what is it that you have on your mind to discuss this morning to the listeners, everybody here in the studio
Well,
about
the
Social
first
Security?
thing is that you guys are very formal this morning. Miss Lawrence, Miss Lawrence. Like, oh, wow, something happened?
So, should we just call her Camilla? But listen, I was just setting precedents when people come to the office, they ask for Miss Lawrence, and they don't just go to your name because you and them not on the same page.
Me and
you know?
everybody on the same
Yes.
Okay,
page.
all right. I'm just making sure.
Once you get to me, it's fine.
Okay.
Camila, Miss Lawrence, Cam, whatever.
Just before you came in, Cam, we had like a spicy 15 minutes.
Well, you know, I can continue along the trip.
She's gonna be spicy.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure you know that my pseudonym is Cam Saucy Wow.
Cam saucy. Wow.
I only knew about Camlo.
Okay, well, it's a whole lot.
Okay.
Well,
Yes.
this morning we're going to talk about the exciting topic of
Yes.
reform. For a long time, since 2005, Social Security has been to the public with the topic of reform. So we continue to talk and to express the importance of looking at your actuarial reports and implementing some of the measures for sustainability. So we are 19 years since we've brought to the public the topic of Social Security reform. And I'm sure you've heard me say that we are a mature fund. We are solvent, or we not got a money problem.
You print out the statement
Yes. We are not in any financial difficulty or any distress. But as responsible administrators of the fund, it is important that you look at where you are and what you have to serve. And I'm sure we do this in our personal finances as well. When you're young and without any obligations, your salary could done to the cent. And then you're waiting for the next one to hit to done it to the cent. As you mature, you have to put things aside.
Yep.
This is for health insurance. This is for life insurance. This is for the mortgage. This is for the rent. This is for savings. This is for retirement. And it goes on and on.
That's true.
So things change. Our physical appearances change. We have to do maintenance. Our homes need paint. You ever have a big house? You ever see big houses around and say, Lord.
Need a paint job.
And then you pour on the paint. She's like, me, yam.
New house there.
Yeah.
New house. Even your attitude is new.
Yes.
When you
Yeah.
walk out of a new house or
Yeah.
you put on a new pair of shoes, it's the same feeling. So we are a
Yes.
mature fund. And when we started back in 1978, we transitioned from the National Provident Fund, which was like a one-time payment. People got to age 60 and they got a one-time payment. It was
Yes.
exciting to have that lump sum of money, but we all know what happens when you get a lump sum of money. In no time, if you're not a financial manager, it disappears. And life happens. Sickness may come about, something. But Social Security saw that gap after persons would have left with their lump sum. And so NPF was transferred into the Social Security Fund, which provided a more comprehensive range of benefits. So when we started, the idea was to ensure that the mission to provide benefits was executed. And so it meant that the formulation considered the demographics of that period back then, the life expectancy of the workers back then, the people it served back then. And so Social Security systems are built on certain information to serve a generation, which is about 30 years. Our fund is now 46 years. So it means that the demographics have changed, and we can look around and see, like literally with our eyes, that the demographics have changed. Our parents got 4 children. Well, my mother got 4 children. Yeah, 4 of us. My father's mother had about 7 or so on. And so we realized I got 1. I make sure the paths work. I contributed to humanity, and I done. Some people, they're still laughing, why?
Because of how she said it.
But it's true.
She did her job.
I did, right? And so I have friends who have decided that they don't want any children. And people are making choices that will serve them. But all of these things are interconnected. It means we have a larger base of people who will be eligible for benefits, but a smaller pool of contributors to sustain it.
Yes.
As well, Social Security requires investment income. And we know that investment can be risky. How risky is the public willing to hear that social put in so-and-so in a specific stock and it gone down the drain? You have to be conservative. So you have to do investments that will, yes, give you a moderate and steady return that will help with the contribution income. But we have a huge growing eligibility base. More people are working, and so as they work, they qualify for benefits. And we can't say, oh, you're living too long, or you claim too much, unless you're claiming fraudulently, and we have to bring you before a medical board and so on. So a lot of things have changed. Even how we work have changed. The self-employed, before 1996, the self-employed wasn't covered. We didn't consider them as a contributory sector. So that changed, and so now we have the inclusion of the self-employed. But even with the inclusion of the self-employed, there are challenges. They're elusive. There's not a space you can go to and say, you could find the self-employed over in self-employedville. They're all over. Yes. Some of them are even operating outside of the country. And so we now have to look at what Social Security offers currently and what the demands of the fund are. And that is why we are at this place of reform. So over the last week, the actuary was actually on island, and we had a series of consultative meetings. We started at about the end of May, virtually, and then we had a full day working session with all stakeholder groups, a representative from the political parties, from the church, the self-employed, employers, the business sectors, including the chamber, youth representatives, and I can't believe how incredibly wise our young people are, and the contributions that they offered at this high-level stakeholders meeting and engagement, the suggestions that they offered and so on for us to consider in the reform plans. So we had this consultative meeting, and we worked all day from about 9 to 2 o'clock, where we discussed the future of Social Security, its current standings, and what we need to do in order to make sure that Social Security is able to deliver. I would be devastated if ever the day comes and I'm walking in the street and people be using me and running behind me for all the work we've done and not do anything about it. It would be totally irresponsible. And what I've found is that through our engagements, the public is ready. They understand the need for reform. They understand it is not a political football. They understand that every single person who works should have that guarantee and should be excited, just like my mother now. Last time was a air fryer. Last week or so, she wanted a Bluetooth speaker. And she tell me, go get she Social Security money for that. I want that sort of dignity when I reach to that age, whatever it is. So it means as we stand, if we do absolutely nothing by 2040, we will have difficulties, because already we are paying out more in benefits that we are receiving from contributors.
So for the persons, are you at, can you say what is the percentage output compared to the percentage input?
Yes, I can definitely say that. one of the hugest bills of Social Security is the age pensioners. Of every dollar that we collect, 81% of it is paid to pensioners only. That's stack. Right? Last year we collected 107 million thereabout, and benefit payments were about 130 million. By watching each other use words.
Because
right?
you went over.
That's where we are.
Wow.
And so we have investment income that supports the overrun, but in time, that's not how you manage.
Yeah.
Your investment income is to put aside in your reserves and say, okay, this will be the pitfall or something. You want what you collect, you pay out and still have some. And since about 2017, that has changed. So it's not a matter of mismanagement. Of course, people are claiming, and once you meet the qualifying conditions, you have to get your benefits.
Yeah.
And persons are living longer.
And persons are living longer. A matter of fact, the statistics show on St. Kitts Nevis that men live to about 73 years old and women to 76, right? And also, we also have the stats to show that we have pensioners who have been receiving Social Security pension for over 30 years.
So they would have started not at 62, some way before?
Well,
has it always been started at 62?
It has always been at 62.
Okay.
So you qualify for a pension at 10 years after working. So by 26, let's say you start to work at 16, by 26 you qualify for a pension. And it means soon after becoming pensionable, within 6 years of you becoming pensionable, you would have gotten back every single cent you've contributed to the fund. And in thinking about this, we all know that this isn't sustainable. No fault of mismanagement. It's just how the system works. And reform is not new to St. Kitts alone. I'm sure we know of reform measures. A matter of fact, we're the last in the OECS.
So we know, based on what you have said to us and based on what has been said, as I said, that the current output in terms of benefit exceeds the current input, and that most of the monies to create the balance or go over is from the investment. So there is need for reform, as you were saying. What are some of the suggestions?
Okay. Now, every 3 years by law, it's mandated that we have an actuarial review. And we are to publish the actuarial review. So if persons were to go to our website, they would see at socialsecurity.kn, www.socialsecurity.kn, you would see under the publications listing all of the actuarial reports. So you see from the 7th, 8th, all the way up to the 13th. We're expecting the 14th one later this year. And in those, there are certain suggestions made. And across the world, some of the suggestions would include to increase the contribution rate, to increase the benefit rate, to restructure, not benefit rate, what I meant to say, to increase the pensionable age, to increase the contribution rates, right? Cut. You have a question?
With the pensionable age, when you move that, most people are dependent on that when it comes to 62. And sometimes you say we're too dependent on the system. But if you move that age, what will happen to those folks? I don't want to say poor folks, but what will happen to those persons that say, okay, at 62, I could not work and I'm going to get this little money and it's going to help me?
Okay. No, that's a good question. So all of the measures are being considered. All of the considerations are being taken on board. So, so immediately, we are still working out what the package would look like. And so we are coming to the public in consultation about what the offerings or the restructuring would look like. And some of those considerations have already been heard. Like, I'm 61, what would happen to me? I've already planned my retirement for 62 and so on. Does this mean I have to stay in the workforce for whatever age.
And that's if the workforce wants you to, because we see that there's a cutoff, especially in the government workforce. And I think if people are still able and capable, then you should let them go until they decide, I can't do this anymore.
So all of those are considerations. And as you said, there's a disparity in some organizations because every organization can decide what's their retirement rate. But there would be some greater synergies to ensure that persons are not terribly disadvantaged.
Okay.
So those are some of the considerations.
So, I mean, persons are wise enough out there in terms of what are some of the suggestions. We look at reform and we look at France, where persons have, where their government has increased the pensionable age. Is there discussions or suggestions, recommendations to do likewise here in St. Kitts and Nevis?
As mentioned, there are those recommendations posted in the actuary, and I would be totally untrue to myself to say that it is not a likely thing. The age will go up. Based on what I've discussed, it cannot be sustained. And nothing to do with poor management. I don't want anyone to leave thinking, oh, Social Security staff or the government run down the fund, and it's a matter of the course. Things you plan a system, well, I'm going to use this pot here for 30 years. You're gone 46 years still using the pot and still very strong. So that's a testament of the efficient and proper administration of Social Security and the prudent financial management of Social Security to be still able to provide all the benefits 46 years after something should have only served you for 30. And the structure then that we started out with was based on the demographics then. In that time, we wanted to show that the system works, so you're pensionable within 10 years. Now, who becomes pensionable at age 26? What's the reality of that? So all of these considerations are very important as we look to the build-out of what we want our Social Security to be and what it can actually do. So from the consultation with the young people, some of the things that they suggested were an age increase as far as to age 70. And we was like, wow, like, why would you be thinking like that? And she said, well, based on the stats that you've shown us and how people are living, maybe this would be best. But then that is a very drastic change, right? And so we won't, I can clearly say it can't be 70. And given the type of thinking that she was doing, that's the type of thoughts that we want. Think about what would serve us, and then we have to come to a middle ground, right? Because, I mean, 3 years later, you die. Where your repayment period is about 6 years, right? So it can't be 70 for the sake of saving the fund. We have to make sure it serves the people. And so the messaging has to help people to see the bigger picture.
Okay, we see other countries would have moved their ages to, let's say, 66 the most. Would that be considered here, moving it to 4 years off of what it should be?
Okay. Well, as I said, we're still deliberating with the public about what the best solutions are.
Okay.
Right? So we can't say explicitly, this is what is happening. But what we can say is that we're prepared to implement those changes so that we can support the sustainability of the fund.
What if the public is resistant to moving it from 62? Because they might say, you see a lot of people, no, but for real, look, a lot of persons haven't made their 40th birthdays. People are dying left and right. What if they are opposed to that and they come? You know, you have to think how people think.
No, but that's a fair question. No.
So
that's
what
a
if they
fair
fight?
question. So when you see me, it's not that it was
no, because you tell me everything I mean. No, but so
it is a fair question.
Yeah. So how are you ready to deal with that kind of fight back then?
I wouldn't say it's a fight back, but it's a legitimate concern. Like, people are dying, but the statistics show that people are living longer. And we just stated that during the program as well. But they're those persons say, people ain't making 40, people ain't making 25, people ain't this and people ain't that. But more people are getting to pensionable age and living way past. I'm sure I can recall when my grandmother was 70, she literally had a bent back. My mother ain't got none.
Okay, praise the Lord, sister.
Right? And that is because our standard of living has improved. We are a little bit more health conscious.
Yep.
They don't have to work as hard as our grandparents
Exactly.
had to work. And so they're living longer and enjoying what they would have worked for.
Okay.
So we do have those cases where people die, and people live. Remember, I just say we have at least 11% of pensioners who are already getting pensions for the last 30 years.
Yeah. Because we have a few persons that are over the age of 100
Yes.
in the Federation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right? So the system has proven that it works and it takes care of everybody. I have a very close friend and I use him in Social Security's conversation a lot. I met him through my work at Social Security. A young man, he got into a terrible accident while at work and he's paralyzed. Right? And Social Security has had to, all of us in here are contributing to his levity. We don't know when it will change. Then there are other people, they get babies. Again, I like to share because I want to make it relatable. I have a cousin, she had 11. I did 1. Then there are people who are never ever sick. And then they get to age 62 and then they die. Or they get to age 61 and they die. And then there are others who are living.
And then there are situations where persons have contributed to Social Security. They die and they leave dependents.
Very well. You should work with me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So the system has to think holistically. You can't serve one and leave the next. So truly, our mandate is threefold. We want to ensure benefit adequacy. The benefit has to be something that it makes you feel like, okay, I worked for this and it can sustain me and meet my needs. And then there's contribution affordability. It has to be affordable, not just for persons coming out of their wages, but for Social Security to meet its obligation to the people. So it's a balancing act. And then there's the financial sustainability. How do you balance all of these things without dropping the ball? It's a science, but we are confident that with the help of the actuary and the people, that we will see the bigger picture and move towards what is needed. Sometimes things that you need don't always feel good immediately, but as you start, it's like exercise. Who wants to exercise?
Nobody.
But you know, it's good for you.
Yeah, and you must.
And you must.
And once you start, sometimes you don't want to stop.
Correct.
And then when you stop,
And then you stop.
the fat come back.
So we're going to stop.
Exactly.
We're going to stop.
Exactly.
So we have to go
Yes.
one at a time
Yes.
and get it done. And it's something that we need to get done very, very soon.
Okay.
So over the next couple weeks, we will be engaging the public in a more face-to-face way. So we'll be out in their communities. We're even hoping to be at events for the summer. So when you go on to FET with you, come ask us a question. We're going to answer your questions, give us your suggestions and so on, because we want everybody to be included so we don't leave any suggestions. Because sometimes, you know, when you're working something, you think you know all the answers.
Yeah.
And then somebody give you an aha moment like, wow, I didn't look at it like that.
Like that.
The goal
Yes.
is to ensure that Social Security remains viable. I mean, if our Social Security fails, our economy flops.
Yep.
We are one of the most important social safety nets, and it is important that we all take a collective responsibility to contribute to the management of Social Security. So if that means helping us to identify gaps, telling us when our compliance is weak, telling us a suggestion to help in investment, giving support, making sure that your benefits are paid, that is what we are here for, to make sure that people can have that reliance on what they worked for and what was promised.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Kortensia, and good morning, Azard.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Jam Down.
And the good people at Social Security.
Good morning to you.
Miss, you all got to come with some town hall meeting to poor people, you know his tongue and your tongue, you know. You know about the rest, eh? You all got to come out there to people. And you say, oh, you're doing a good job, but man, seeing it, you know. Because all kind of people coming into this country and working and then paying Social Security Why don't go look for and go look for Ruby? Go look for Inez. Go look for Melda, the guy from the South Bay. Go look for Warner. I pick up the collection. That's why I had in there. Something wrong, you know. The poor people have something wrong with so stupid, eh? We're not so stupid. Social security, I feel in problem. Because the young people them down there, they don't understand the job. Collection is very important into the social security. You ain't seen it? All kind of people are presented doing as well. And the DNA stories to come to poor people. I just hope them politician agenda, you know. I hope they're coming straight from the board. Have a good day. Jam down will be back.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Jamdam,
you, Jamdam.
for your passionate contribution to the discussion. Of course, compliance is an important factor as it is a means by which we collect contributions and pay benefits. So we are on the way of increasing our compliance measures. You hear him spoke about Warner, and so he's referring to collections. So Social Security is in fact making some inroads as it relates to collections. We can be more vigilant, and we require the support of the public as well to help us to execute those tasks. And so we are having a number of court dates and getting judgments and are in receipt of contributions. But individually, we have a responsibility to check on our contribution status. In the big scheme of things, we are 100 workers in total, looking after a workforce of over 25,000. So we need the support of the public to help us in that regard. So check on your contribution status.
Carla, go ahead.
Go ahead, Carla.
Yes, I forget something.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know, you know. We want to know the officers, them who moving around, because this thing need a task force with police, inland revenue, national security, these legal departments, we need a task force. Second people is not going to carry social security, they're alone, and people come in and jam and wine. This guy works, sir. If you ain't working in the country, can't work here. The girl went to the CBI, you know. CBI is a national thing. What is happening in the country, fine. We come from a different race. Have a good day.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Jamdong. Just to clarify as well, we do have those synergies in place already. So there is that collaborative effort with Inland Revenue. If you don't have your business license, if you don't have certain things up to date, you can't get certain other benefits offered by the government and the different various agencies. In terms of scouting and so on, we do also have those sorts of collaborative effort, and we have decided as well as interrelated agencies to work closer together as we realize that it takes all of us to support the goals of each other. So we want to thank Mr. Jamdong for his contribution, and I also want to take this opportunity to thank the public for their responsiveness as it relates to this very important topic of Social Security reform. I want to also appeal to employees and the self-employed to check your contributions. Just like how you check your people WhatsApp status. Check, make sure, mind your business, like check to make sure that your employer is in fact making those contributions on your behalf. Self-employed, you have a responsibility to yourself to ensure that you have a dignified retirement. I've seen too many stories of self-employed persons who paid for their staff, did well while working, and now they are asking Social Security to give them an assistance pension because they failed to cover themselves. Employers, we understand that it has been a difficult time, especially as we are rebounding from COVID. I mean, there's still that COVID effect. And so if you're having a difficulty, come in and have a conversation with us. Let's work out a way that you can make your contributions in a way that doesn't burden you, but you are responsive to the importance of making contributions. Sometimes people know when they make a claim. Why is it staying so long? Truly, we don't have any information about you. Why is social staying too long to collect? We really didn't have the information we need to process the claim. So don't wait. We have one last caller.
Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Lovely program as usual.
Thank
Question.
you.
And then I have my comment behind that. Who's supposed to be paying Social Security? When I say who, I mean somebody not working or somebody who is working. Quick answer, and then I'll come in with the comment.
Working persons pay contributions to Social Security.
All right, thank you. That's correct. That's the correct answer. Because why I say that, let me tell you from experience. Where I used to live, in St. Thomas, Virgin Island, you had some people from St. Kitts used to come down there to dance masquerade. And when they go over where the tourist ships them dock up, they dance, and everybody who enjoyed them, they would pay them. And Social Security agent went over there and they tell them they can't be doing that. They can't be doing that. They're working because they're getting paid. And they're not paying anything to the Social Security. So they stop them. They could dance, but don't collect no money. Now, saying that to say this, these people who come in here to perform, and they're going to get paid, the Social Security office going to get anything out of their money? That's the question.
Okay, that's a very good question. However, though, there's a thing called contract of service and contract for service. So in some arrangement, the persons are self-employed and are making their contributions in their country. They don't have a jurisdiction here in which we can take contributions for them and so on. If, however, they are employees of the St. Kitts Music Festival as a company, that changes the arrangement, and then that would be when they would have to pay contributions to Social Security.
And another thing again, locally, you all know, even when they used to have dance with our local bands them here, the Inland Revenue Department people by the duo collecting the revenue for the Inland Revenue, a local dance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen that because I pay them when we raising fund to go in the boys in Warner Park go perform. So therefore, if those people are coming here, I don't care what they're coming to do. The amount of foreign names are here coming here to say they're going to participate in music festival. It's a lot of money all of them going to collect. And all the money ain't supposed to go out the country unless Social Security gets some. Because they're working too. Anyway, thanks for listening. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution, caller.
Yes. As we wrap up, I just want to make that appeal to all persons who have a stake in Social Security, which is every single body, to pay attention to your Social Security fund. Ask us the difficult questions, we'll answer. Direct us in the way that we should go, we'll look to it. And of course, we encourage you to pay your contributions in full and on time so we can keep looking up for your benefits. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. And that was our once monthly in-studio show with Camilla Lawrence, Social Security. We have Farm Report coming up next, brought to you by Feed and Farm.
For this Social Security, Social Security.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
For all your animal needs, try the Feed and Farm Store SKN. We have the best quality products in feed, dewormers, grooming supplies, toys, treats, and minor medical supplies. Drop by the store on the Kim Collins Highway at the airport roundabout. We're open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday and 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. Give us a call at 669-FARM.
Well, it's 9 minutes after 9 o'clock. It's time for Farm Report. And Farm Report is brought to you by Feed and Farm. Their number is 669-FARM, 669-FARM, 3276. And they sell a wide variety of pet supplies and agriculture and agriculture adjacent products. So you can go and check them out on the Kim Collins Highway. And we have got Solomon Morton and his guests, and they'll introduce themselves. Good morning, guys.
Hi, good morning to you, Jamsir, and the general public at large.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, dear.
Okay, and we have the former director of agriculture, Mr. James. He'll introduce himself and tell us about the project that he will be working on with the consortium. Okay, looks like we're having some headphone issues. Okay, so Mr. James, go ahead and introduce yourself. I would just introduce you as the former director of agriculture, and we just he was telling me earlier, Mr. James was telling me earlier about a project that he was assisting the consortium with. So, go ahead.
Good morning, all. Yes, as was stated, this is Melvin James. I'm the agricultural specialist on this project called Improving Environmental Management through Sustainable Land Management. That's the name of the project. That is the name of the project. The consortium are beneficiaries of the project in their capacity as farmers, but the project really is wider than just farmers. And as we go through the program, I expect I'll be able to explain in detail.
Okay, so tell us what the project aims to achieve.
Thank you. The project is a 5-year initiative beginning in 2020, should end in 2025. It's funded by GEF. I think people are familiar with the Global Environmental Facility. It aims to support key stakeholders in St. Kitts and Nevis to address development challenges, environmental development challenges, through looking at sustainable land use, soil conservation practices and policies that will help to improve our sector. It's been executed by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, and that is the entity that I represent, that I work for. There are two of us here in the Federation. The project coordinator is one Miss Nikita Brown, and I serve as the agriculture specialist, agricultural technician on the program. The project aims to engage a number of stakeholders. I would say one being the farmers, because the farmers are major manipulators of soil. We also have, I would say, generally speaking, anybody who has an environmental consciousness and activism as an individual or an institution, a cooperative, or even a society, Lions Club, football club, associations. And of course the general public as a third group, because you really cannot achieve your goals if there's not widespread buy-in from the general public, if the general public is not on board. Really and truly, with all of this fancy thing that we'd said about improving environmental management, what we're really looking at is trying to see how we can help to mitigate the negative effects in our climate. We know that right now there's lots of water shortages. In other words, we're saying what can be done to increase rainfall, to increase infiltration into the ground, to reduce runoff, to reduce soil erosion, to improve and increase soil deposition, nutrient accumulation in the soil, and carbon fixation, as they like to put it, carbon sequestration. Together, while we recognize that there's a lot of global warming taking place and it continues intensifying, and while we recognize that there is less rainfall, we often look to the industrialized countries. We say that, oh, they are the main causes of global warming. And I support that to some extent. But I think sometimes we don't seem to realize that there are little things that we too can do to help our own microclimate. So this project is about what we can do in our country to help our local situation, especially when it comes to carbon sequestration and maintaining soil fertility. And so we work with the farmers, as we said, the consortium being one group of the farmers, and volunteer groups to be able to do this. So that's in the general sense, and I don't know if you want me to go into more details right away, or whether you'll have the next
I noticed the first point you mentioned was increased rainfall, but surely we don't have any control over that, right?
Yes, we do not have any direct control. In fact, even technology where people have been seeding the clouds. We recall the incident that we had in the
Dubai.
Yes, and it was being speculated that seeding may have been a part of it and that it didn't go as planned. However, what we can do, put it simple, in the what you call the watershed area, the higher levels of the forest, get back the trees that are missing there. We think, if we remember our old geography, as the air currents rise over these high mountains, with the effect of the trees, we help to get more precipitation, we help to get more cloud formation, and when the clouds get saturated, we get more rainfall. So there is some effect, and we recall that is something that have been tried a lot, for example, in Haiti, just that they haven't had the opportunity to allow the trees to mature. But certainly, if we have more trees in the high elevation, the intensity of cloud formation increases, and then you can get more rainfall. When it falls, though, you don't want too much of it to run down into the ocean. It doesn't help us. The more that can go into the soil, then that will eventually find its way into the water table. And that is what comes back to us as the spring or the wells. And so by a process, then we get more rainfall, and then we get more water available to us. So that is the thinking. So we work with volunteer groups to encourage them, come, let's go into the forest in those areas where you have a lot of grass and absence of trees. There are lots of patches like that in St. Kitts, more than in Nevis, because the Nevis slopes have been more steep. In St. Kitts, you may recall that when in the days when sugar was king in the 1600s and that time, that most of the arable lands were under sugarcane, right up to the mountain slopes was sugarcane. And our great-grandparents and what have you, for them to do their own farm, they either had to farm in the gut or way up in the forest. So there are patches in the forest that has been cut out for plantation agriculture in the old days. And those are the areas we're targeting. Replace trees, whether it's fruit trees or natural forest trees. It's better than grass. While grass can also fix carbon dioxide, a lot of times in the hot part of the year, the dry season, the grass is burned. They burn through spontaneous fire, and sometimes we call them spontaneous, but some are naturally induced fires. But sometimes we have a hand in it, in that we may have gone through that area, and then we drop a glass bottle. And as the sun, especially if the glass bottle is curved, as the sun heats that bottle, it directs most of the heat in one direction because of the concave nature. and therefore that glass helps to create a fire. And then when you look, the thing once there's a burning, that's smoke going up in the air. So we are now contributing to more what we call greenhouse gas, right? So that is why we are saying to folks, come join us. Let's go up there, maybe the Lions Club, maybe St. Kitts Farmers Association, an agriculture class, a club in your area. We go up there and we dig out a few of these grass stools, you plant a tree, and over time, we would have assisted ourselves in a cooler climate, more rainfall, and more tolerable existence.
You also mentioned runoff. Is there any how should I put it? Is there any, let's say, system to try and reduce runoff? Because, for example, how you can have pesticide runoff from farms and so on, which can affect the marine biome and cause algae blooms and cause damage to the fish and so on. Maybe mess with the fish's the fish's physiology and so on.
Yes. And we're going to take the runoff from 2 points of view. The one you mentioned, and even about soil loss and nutrients. So we'd look at the biological component and geographical component. So first, runoff, intense runoff results in erosion. And St. Kitts soil is sandy to loam. So, and we could talk by comparing St. Kitts and Nevis. The average gut or gully in Nevis is shallow. Those in St. Kitts are ridiculous. Well, they're very deep because we have lost that much soil. And
so that's what it is. It's because of the amount of soil that we've lost.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
Okay.
When you see the water begins naturally up in the mountain. So it has a gradient from the mountain to the sea. It's sloping. So as the water comes, it picks up speed. And the faster the water runs, the more soil is going to wash away. And it results in a gut, or it results, once it happens in your field, you dig a hole maybe about a foot deep, you call it a gully. You go around to the farms, and there are several of those. You reduce that by several things, right? Maybe you could plant trees. You could plow the land in such a way, because since we think we have to plow, you ought to plow the land in such a way that it blocks the flow of the water rather than facilitate. Blocking the flow of the water is what you call contour farming, contour plowing. I have found in speaking to farmers, they're saying, well, let me facilitate the water. Let me bank in such a way that it's a drain. The water drains out of the field. But the more you facilitate drainage, imagine that you maybe you just have 10 rows in your field, just that's 10 flows of water. But if you consider 6 farmers, then it's 10 times 6. That volume maybe has increased by 6, and that velocity, that strength also. And so down from you, the water gets so much more powerful, and we have so much erosion. Once that soil goes into the ocean, it's lost forever. And it is said that it takes millions of years to produce topsoil. So we've lost it in minutes, what had to take millions of years to be created. And so the farmer now has to plant in a less fertile piece of land. So whereas once ago, 1 pumpkin came 15 pounds, over time now, the average of the pumpkin is going to go down to 10 pounds. It's going to be harder for him to make a profit, let alone 3 generations from now.
Wow.
You also spoke about the pesticides and so on in the runoff. And that too is a big issue, because when these things get into the marine environment, they change up the pH, they change up the nutrient status. And in fact, it is said that a lot of this sargassum that we're getting, a part of the reason is because there's been excess fertilizer going into the ocean, I think they said in the Amazon region, causing proliferation, far more growth than normal. And all of this excess is now coming out. So there are lots of impacts. The marine environment is a lot more critical than we think sometimes. For example, when we talk about carbon fixation, we always encourage to plant trees because the trees take the extra carbon dioxide out of the air, right? It's better than having to build a factory to as it were, to take out the air. The trees are the natural factory. So we want to keep the trees. Mangrove, swamp trees, those trees in the mangrove, those trees in the marsh, in the swamp, they do a better job than the trees on the land. But I'll tell you this, the seagrass in the ocean is even better than the mangroves, is even better than the plants on the ground. Because mangroves store like 10 times more carbon dioxide than our trees on land. But the seagrasses does 50 times more than our trees. So we need to keep the marine environment intact because even though we don't know it, they're doing a great job to help us. Imagine they're doing such a good job now and the place is so hot. If we get rid of them, what kind of tolerance are we going to be able to survive with?
Wow.
So in simple terms, what are you going to be doing? In simple and practical terms, what are you going to be doing to effect this program?
3 quick things. When it comes to the mangroves, we would like to replant some mangroves. Let's take the marsh, the swamp there by the strip. I take that because all of us here are most familiar with that. I think we're there twice a week, each week. Sala, you too. Right?
You take it back, so maybe we're in. Okay, thank you.
We're very familiar. And they're elsewhere. There's one over there by the
Canada.
masonry products, which they call the Great Heats, and there's several on the southeast, right? Our developers like to target them for hotels, and then when you look, you dig up all the trees. And we're trying to impress upon them that, look, these kind of plants, they do a great job in fixing carbon dioxide in the air and helping to reduce this extra heat. And we would like you to keep them. You could build your hotel around them, make them a part of, rather than destroy them and, turn everything into a marina and so on. If we can get the agreement, then some of the places where they have already destroyed, we'd like to plant back trees there. Obviously, we need input from influential stakeholders who can talk to them, so that is one. I said them because most of those properties in St. Kitts and most of the Federation, they're private. They're not government owned. I think the Great Heats is not private, but most of the others are on private property. Secondly, we have the farmers. The farmers nobody disturbs the soil like the farmer. I mean, you're going to build a house, you move the soil a little bit. The quarrying moves the soil a little bit, but the regular practice of the farmer is in the soil. So he's a very critical person. So in some countries, once you plow the land today, you don't have to plow it again until 3-4 years after. There's a concept they call minimum tillage. People always think our soil is well suited for that because they're light. Unlike Nevis, which is hard. But in St. Kitts, instead of once every 4 years, most of us cultivate a piece of land 3 times, 2 to 3 times in a year. Wow. So if we could get you to cut down on that, it would help. If we can get you to plant trees in a strategic way, it would help. Because a lot of times as the water flow, the tree roots will block it and stuff like that. So we're with the farmers, including the consortium, and we're very happy that they saw value in what we're doing to say, hey, let's share it with the public, right? So we're working with them in soil conservation and things like that, water retention, water accessibility. And then the third group that we're working with, any volunteers with that consciousness who we could get to help us go into the forest, in those grassy patches, and plant trees. That would be ideal. So far, we've gone in there with the Lions Club. We've gone in there with a young group of girls called Girls to Pearls who operate out of the Mount Carmel Baptist Church. And we're targeting other groups. And we've had engagement with St. Kitts farmers. We've had engagement with some people in FOIs. We've had engagement with the consortium, all with the view of assisting them. And they also, in turn, assisting themselves in the country in reforestation and sustainable land management.
Okay. So would you say that you're getting buy-in from the consortium, from the farmers? Because it sounds to me like when you talked about reducing the cultivation periods throughout the year, that sounds to me, at least as a layman, that sounds to me like you're saying plant less. And am I wrong? And if I'm right, isn't that an issue you might get pushback about?
Well, the honest thing is that concept of minimum tillage, that is one I've withheld from my discussion.
Mr. Solomon is smiling over here.
He makes sense with that.
I started some of that discussions, but I'll tell you, the concept is growing. I engage a farmer in Nevis, and he's very anxious to see it implemented. Yeah. But we have a couple problems in St. Kitts. One, we need commercial equipment, large-scale equipment that can do that, right? Meaning, once you harvest, like I went by a farmer the other day, he harvests sweet potatoes, and his plan is to plant sorrel. And so minimum tillage is great for that. If you could just get rid of the vegetation that you had with the sweet potato, then you don't need to plow that again. You just plant the sorrel right there. The weed count is going to be low. You plant there. Okay. But there are some equipment that you could hitch to a tractor that could assist you, that are designed for minimum tillage. We don't have any in St. Kitts. So that if you're going to promote the concept without the right kind of equipment, it's really hard to be practical. I can't tell a farmer who is going to plant 2 acres of, let's say, tomato, to go in there and chop down 2 acres with a cutlass. No, I know he's not going to get buy-in. So until we can bring in the kind of equipment, until we can get people to realize that there's some things that you really don't have to plow over for. And a lot of times we plow because we're doing weed control. So if we can find another way to do weed control, then it would be, to me, the best way to do it is for, I would say, like the Department of Agriculture to demonstrate it. Select a field, do it, let people see it can be done, and then you'll get buy-in. So, but it's not for the farmers to plant less, but it's that sometimes what you're going to plant second really do not need all of that elaborate soil manipulation to be successful.
Okay, I have a feeling we're gonna have to leave it there, but I have a feeling you may have to have a part 2 and come back and get more into this, because listening to you, it seems like there are a lot of implications to this program, and I'm sure perhaps farmers and other listeners might want to weigh in and give their input. So I don't know if you guys want to come back next week.
We can decide on a return, but maybe we couldn't fix the date right away.
Sure.
My program for next week, in the same line of work, is already fixed. So maybe we could, set a date.
And you said you're a representative for the International Union for the Conservation of Nature.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The program is run by them.
Okay.
There are 2 of us in the federation here. Nikita, who is in charge, and myself, who gives support to her.
Okay, great. Okay, guys, there was another great farm report, and we hope we can have a continuation on this this program that the consortium is spearheading. Farm report is brought to you by Feed and Farm. We've got Inland Revenue coming up next.
For all your animal needs, try the Feed and Farm Store SKN. We have the best quality products in feed, dewormers, grooming supplies, toys, treats, and minor medical supplies. Drop by the store on the Kim Collins Highway at the airport roundabout. We're open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday and 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. Give us a call at 669-FARM.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put your Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, make me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. Give her a sip and she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah. Right now a Magnum for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Feel the magic happening. Campari. Taste.
Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
It's 9:36. We've got Inland Revenue coming up next. And AZ had to take off for court, so... And we've got the representative from Inland Revenue. Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, good morning to everyone. Good morning to those listening in Radio Land. It's a pleasure to be here this morning with you.
It's a pleasure having you as well, Miss Mills. Welcome to Island Tea. Sure, Jamsa would have done the welcome, but I didn't get to hear much because I was busy trying to help her set up as well. So we are going to talk about property tax today, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll let you start then.
Well, property tax. We're here to speak about property tax. As we know, it's property tax month, and we're here to discuss our taxes and the contribution it makes to us, it being a St. Kitts as an sustainable island state.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull up my stuff. You know, I have everything prepared, and then I can't find anything.
Always happens.
So that St. Kitts, and we all know that come June 30th, we have it's the property tax deadline for all of the property owners here, and we're encouraging everyone to kindly pay on or before that deadline. Of course, Inland Revenue is always open. Okay, you can pay electronically, you can walk in, and so that's why we're here. But more so important, a person sometimes need to hear what their contribution, how it impacts their everyday lives. And this is what I'm here to do this morning, is to remind individuals how our taxes build a sustainable island state.
Okay. So let's dive right in.
Oh, thank you very much. Our taxes really play a crucial role in funding essential services and infrastructure that are the backbone of any sustainable society. This includes anything from renewable energy, public transportation, infrastructure, waste management, environmental conservation initiatives that will happen on the island.
Okay, so can you give us some specific examples?
Absolutely. Take renewable energy, for example, tax fund the development of solar farms and wind turbines, reducing our reliance on fossil fuels and lowering our carbon footprint. Another good example is where we have infrastructure investment. Okay. Adequate infrastructure investment is essential to creating and achieving higher levels of competitiveness. And we all know that St. Kitts is a competitive, especially as it relates to our tourism product. Mm-hmm. Now, quality infrastructure for transportation in the area of air and seaport was fundamental. Water and telecommunication and electricity has facilitated the development of the country's tourism sector. Further to that, over 95% of our population has access to basic services such as electricity, potable water, sanitation, and shelter. You know, this is important because the minute that we don't have it, you hear everybody, there's an alarm that is that arises.
Exactly.
Not only that, we have our roads. Mm-hmm. St. Kitts has a beautiful network of roads. I do not know where you can go anywhere in the Caribbean or elsewhere. You can basically travel around and the island. And so St. Kitts ranked 74th in the world for the amount of roadways it has available to all people. Mm-hmm. As it relates to infrastructure, we have the tourism product and how it builds. We have the airports, both the Vance Amory International and our very own Robert Llewellyn-Batcher Airport. We have modern terminals, we have long runways, navigational equipment that can accommodate large jets used for modern air travel. And of course, Nevis is also holding its own as well.
Yeah, sure is.
There is also the fact that work is ongoing at the airport. We have solar farms that it would be upgraded, as well as they have done work on the apron up there as well. So, you know, work continues to go on, and it is because of our contribution why all these projects are made possible. Now, our first deep water port, we had our first deep water port in 1981, and we have come a long way from that. I sure remember the days, those of us, or at least I remember, and those of us at a particular age, we all remember that when everything used to be directed up there. Yeah. But we now boast a beautiful facility called Port Zante. Yeah. And not only does it do yachts, but it can berth 4 large ships at once. Yeah. This is a considerable achievement. Of course, we have other ports that are still being developed, and there is Long Point, which also is evolving in Nevis, along with the ferry pier that is there, you know, to accommodate the main travel. ICT as well has improved significantly in St. Kitts. As a matter of fact, with ICT development, it goes hand in hand in social and economic development. And as a result of that, we have seen several improvements in as far as e-government is concerned. Health services, education, and infrastructure all are essential if we are going to meet our developmental goals. And so I feel proud and happy to say that St. Kitts, out of 176 countries, St. Kitts ranked 34th in all the world as it relates to ITC. Now, that is a beautiful accomplishment where we are concerned. And as it is a beautiful conduct. Not only that, we ranked behind, we came 4th and in the OECS and the Caribbean region, and we ranked behind the USA, Canada, and Barbados. Now, you know, we like to say we're small and we're Talawa. Well, St. Kitts is right up there with the big guys. And with ITC development, they have taken this seriously so that our tourism product and other industries can grow as well.
I have to say, I see in this, it says St. Kitts and Nevis, as you said, we ranked 34th among 176 countries, the highest ranked country in the organization of the Eastern Caribbean states. So we're the highest in the OECS.
Yes.
And fourth
absolutely.
in the Latin Americas.
Thank you for clarifying that. We are fourth, and we fall behind those larger countries.
Larger countries, but we are the boss in the OECS.
We are the boss.
I love it. I love
it.
Okay.
All right. And there were other capital projects that we all benefited from. There was the Old Road Bay project. Of course, we had the Nevis Island Main Road Rehabilitation and Safety Improvement Project, as well as the Wally Water Taxi Enhancement Project. These were all self-funded with some help from the Republic of China and Taiwan.
And this is because of the taxes that we pay on time.
This is because of the taxes we contribute.
Okay.
All right? I call it a contribution because we are doing it for ourselves.
Yes,
all
indeed,
right?
indeed.
For ourselves. Of course, there is also the social development programs in terms of the housing. Nevis in particular delivered 315 houses, and first-time homeowners had access to concessions. Now, this also continues in St. Kitts. Not only that, there was a commitment that came through the national budget that says that there will be 2,400 of smart homes built. And everybody got excited. I don't know if you did, but everybody got excited when we were able to finally see the end result of the 2 homes that were delivered. Now, another hot topic that touches us, all of us, is water. All right, we cannot do without water. And so considerable strides had been made to ensure that we have access to clean, fresh water that will enable us to live and develop and grow. And so, especially in the Keron area, we knew that there was a project that was launched in 2023, and we know the end result of that now, Keron now has some water that has been discovered. Apart from that, there are also desalination plans, exploratory work that has been done to make sure that this resource, we have access to it, not only at a ready supply, access to it readily supply, so we can have access, to it readily. And so exploratory work has been done to ensure that we have water, all right? And so I am quite happy with the things that have been done for us so that we would be able to grow. But the thing is that we need as well to make a contribution.
We certainly do. And we go down now to waste management. So what about waste management, and how do our taxes contribute there?
Thank you for the question. Taxes fund a robust waste management system that includes recycling programs and composting facilities. These systems help to minimize the waste at the landfill and promote a circular economy, where materials are reused and recycled, reducing waste and conserving our resources. Of course, we would have heard of the recycling initiatives, that it went into the schools, the parents became involved, and that continues. So in 2022, a US $1 million project was initiated both in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we saw that program getting off the foot. That was also funded in part by this government of St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as help from the Republic of China and Taiwan. Nevis in particular was able to get a packaging plant, and they had capital investment and was able to get some equipment that will help in that regard.
Okay. So, someone said to tell you that they love your presentation and they're excited to know that Nevis is included. I'll tell you who that person is afterwards. So, it's clear that the taxes are vital for these initiatives. How do they contribute to environmental conservation?
Taxes support the maintenance and expansion of our green spaces and protected areas, it preserves our natural habitats and biodiversity. They also fund research and programs aimed at combating climate change, such as coastal restoration projects that protect our shores from erosion and rising sea levels. Right? We have heard time and time again that the world is changing. And St. Kitts, although small, the impact is also real for us. And so no longer can we think, okay, it's always going to be there. We don't have to do anything. We can live as we like. No, the government of our federation on our behalf, is making sure that these areas are taken care of.
Yeah. And it's funny that what you just said ties into the previous guest that we had before that was talking about all of this. So I'm saying, look at the little coincidences. And I remember when I first moved to St. Kitts over at the peninsula, it was further out. Mm-hmm. Now it's further in. The water is almost close to the structure that was once there, the hotel that was supposed to be built. The water is almost close to there, and it was way out.
Right, and so, work has to be done. Work has to continue. We have to become involved. And so the only way some of us will only do that is to by paying our taxes.
Yeah, and I like how you keep reiterating that. To pay the taxes. So it sounds like there's a lot being done. How can people feel more connected to where their tax money is going? Since you reiterated to pay the taxes.
One way is finding out what is going on. Mm-hmm. Transparency is a big thing. And the Ministry of Finance publishes a budget annually, as well as the Ministry of Sustainable Development published papers as to what is happening in our federation annually and the ongoing projects. I want to invite all our listeners really to stay tuned, become involved, get involved in special interest groups that can impact what is happening in our federation. Mm-hmm. Not only that, once we become involved in this interest group, it means that we'll have an opportunity to really gauge whether or not these projects are really meeting the needs of the communities. Because let's face it, St. Kitts is ours. It not only belongs to a subset of individuals, it belongs to all of us. If we collectively pay attention, there's a likelihood that more of our needs will be met. And so I want to encourage those of us, like me, I had to really go and research all of these areas. We shouldn't wait until there's a need for work or otherwise to go and do such. So we're encouraging everybody to actively go and search the information. Sometimes we do not know because we don't want to know, and information, it is important to learn and to grow. We do not know what is missing or what is happening unless we cannot depend on chance, but we have to go and seek it out.
Indeed.
I often wonder, do you think Inland Revenue is doing enough work to make the public aware of the linkages between paying taxes and government services and all the amenities that we expect the government to pay for, things like health care and all these things? Sometimes I wonder if more awareness isn't needed. If an increase in awareness isn't needed, because sometimes I don't think people make the connection. They just think of taxes as a nuisance and as an annoyance.
Government wanting with money.
Rather than necessary nuisances. Maybe I don't want to pay that, but
fundamental services. Not necessarily a necessary nuisance, but it's fundamental.
Well, that's how. I mean, at least if you can get them, if you can move them from annoyance straight up to
appreciation. Then you want to say appreciation, why it is necessary. And thanks for the question. I want to suggest that it is because we saw the need to highlight that there are linkages why we have taken this step, and we will continue to do what we do. All right, we come on the year, but primarily I agree that Inland Revenue is an institution that speaks towards and administers the taxes, and generally that's what we do. And so yes, there might be a need, but this morning with this particular campaign at this time, as it relates to the property tax really touches the largest amount of taxpayers it's our largest taxpayer base. with over 25,000 individuals have properties on the island. And so we really want to not only touch the businesses, but everyone, and let them know, yes, there are significant linkages, and Inland Revenue will continue to do what little we can. But remember, each ministry has its mandate. Our mandate really is to collect and to tell you, to ensure that we administer the laws in a fair and equitable manner. Like you would have had the program before, their job really is to come and show you, okay, this is what we are doing, all right? And other programs of awareness that will help. But I am happy that we are positioned now to help link, make the connection between what your taxes do and the benefits that we will continue to experience. And I want to encourage our taxpayers that not to see their taxes just as a financial obligation. It's not just a financial obligation, but an investment in our future. By supporting sustainable projects and initiatives, we not only enhance the quality of our life today, but we can ensure that we will have healthier and more resilient island state in the future. So it's not just for now, all right? It's for, we are building tomorrow. Why not recycle today or get involved when we know that our children will benefit, our grandchildren will have a better, fairer St. Kitts? I mean, I can't imagine what Port Zante would look like in a couple of years. In just, the transformation in our island has been phenomenal. And as a proud citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, I can appreciate, and I'm sure a lot of you appreciate, the development that has happened. And as such, a lot of us will not get involved in, as much as we can tell and say, go and read or go become involved in special interest groups. A lot of persons will not do that. But one thing that we can do is perhaps the smallest is to pay our property tax. That equates to $50 in some cases for some individuals, which is quite small for all that development, for all those things that are happening, just $50. Now, so property tax, as I said before, is due on June 30th of this year. Of every year is due in June. You may pay online via quick pay services, and you may access that by going to www.sknird.com, or you may pay via, you may pay, walk into our offices and pay, as well as National Bank's payment portal is also available.
I was just going to ask if there's any other way other than the quick portal, walking in the office, but you answered that question. I also see there was something in, it says the tax rates in St. Kitts and Nevis are based on the use of property as stated below.
Okay, so I'm just going to let you know what the rates are. For, in some cases, we have property, the rates, we have accommodation. The rate is 0.002%. Now, you have a piece of land, all right? It is worth perhaps $50,000 or $150,000, or we're asking you, not even a full percent of that for the year to assist with the development that, we have become accustomed to and that we expect to happen. 0.002% of that. In Nevis, it's 0.003%.
Why is it higher in Nevis?
Now, that is a question I am not able to answer.
Okay, no problem.
All right?
Okay.
That's the question. That's for the legislators.
Okay.
All right? What we do is administer.
What
all
they
right?
give you.
And so that basically is it.
Okay.
Now, land is 2%, 0.002, both in St. Kitts and Nevis. Agricultural lands, of course, because that's another one of the pillar upon which development is. We want to make sure that persons have, access to food, and so there's no no property tax for agricultural land or building.
Okay.
In St. Kitts. Commercial, of course, there's 0.003% in both in St. Kitts and Nevis, and land in St. Kitts is 0.003%. Now, institutions, of course, there in St. Kitts, there is none, and then residential, we have 0.002 in St. Kitts, and both for land and building. All right?
It's a little low in Nevis. Oh, so
all right.
Okay.
So, Nevis and St. Kitts, we are a unique federation.
Definitely
with our unique challenges. And I believe that the persons in authority would have sat and deliberated, right? We can only oftentimes see a small snippet, and so they have so they would have carefully thought about what is required, and so they have brought these rates for us. Now, with these small rates, I want to encourage all of us to pay our taxes. Now, for individuals who would have had issues with the Inland Revenue Department, perhaps you have not paid in a long while, and you're hearing this presentation right now, and you're saying, it's true, water, all the millions of dollars, it's true, roads, No, it's a in order to, things may not be perfect, but it takes our contribution for the development to continue to grow. And so if you have arrears with the Inland Revenue Department, I encourage all persons to come on down to the department. We have a whole team, a team that is specifically dedicated to arrears management or debt services unit that is adequately serviced, both for large taxpayers and those that are smaller. Walk in, tell us of your concern, and we'll be happy to assist you with an arrangement that suits your financial needs.
I like how you ended that. So thank you, Ms. Mills, for shedding light on this important topic. It's inspiring to see how our contributions can make a real difference.
I'm happy I was able to assist in this regard, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, folks, remember the 30th of June. Please go and pay your taxes. Are they arrears? If you don't pay by the 30th of June, Jam, so why are you laughing?
All right, the arrears, you have a little bit more time to work on them, but we're asking you to keep current. Come and pay your taxes for the current year.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Well, you hope you have a great day.
Oh, thank you so much. I will.
All right. And then thanks for all the great work you all do. I always talk about the amazing customer service you guys have at Inland Revenue.
We aim to please and continue to grow as well.
Okay.
Mr. Solomon said he wanted to mention, which he didn't get to, Jamsa, about the agri strip. So it's going to be live tomorrow at 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Their small businesses will also be attached. There will be a cultural exhibitions of masquerade, the bull and the actors. So I just told him I'll put that in there for him.
And I want to squeeze this in before I go to Spin Cycle. Jeremiah Louis has been selected to the West Indies team to join his brother. I'm sure Trent likes to hear that because Trent is a big Trent is a pedigreed cricket dude.
Yeah. So we have two brothers on the team.
Trent's dad. Actually, when Biff had his show a few weeks ago, the one of the guys from Antigua Barbados mentioned Trent's dad as one of the people that should have made the West Indies team.
So what made him not made the team? Since we have Trent, can Trent tell us?
There's just that weird thing that was going on where all these great Kittian cricketers weren't making the team.
Wow.
And now we have two brothers.
Yeah,
nonetheless.
that's good.
Congratulations to Jeremiah Louis.
He's John McCall.
Yeah. So we had listeners, we had actually wanted to discuss this morning whether the same nice little tokens like the 10,000.
Will they be extended? Well, since he wasn't wrong, maybe when he comes back, they can put that on his. Maybe it can be the Jeremiah or the Mikhail and Jeremiah Louis stands. How about that?
I don't agree. That doesn't sound good.
But they're brothers.
I feel like
fair enough.
I feel like they should name something as I was suggesting to Biff last night during the show. He had
Jeremiah Park instead of Warner Park. Am I pushing it?
I was thinking maybe the Connery cricket field. The Connery cricket.
Yeah.
They could name that after Jeremiah.
Louis cricket. Yes.
Or they could name that one after, I don't know. I mean, Mikhail is the first.
Mikhail got the stand, the south stand, named after him.
He's at the flagpole selectee. He's the first one, and then you have the second one.
I wonder if Jerkson is going to join soon too, because I know it's 3 cricket brothers.
This is no small feat.
No, not at all.
I mean, and this is somebody who doesn't even really follow cricket. I just kind of, I'd watch a 2020. I think I get how momentous this is, and I just hope. I wish them the best.
Yes.
Apparently, like I was telling you earlier, apparently he's in England now as well. So
that reunion must have been great.
Yeah. So, because he was up there playing cricket, Jeremiah.
Yeah, county cricket, as you said.
Oh, so what happened was Kimar Roach. Trent knows who that is better than me. He's a bowler. He's a bowler, right? Yeah. Apparently, he got injured.
Need to get Trent in on the topic, man.
So they picked Jeremiah Louis to replace him.
Because he's injured.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so.
When it's your time, it's your time.
When it's your time, it's
yes, and this is the brothers' time, and I know they're going to try their best. As I saw Mikhail at the airport, and I was asking him, I said, so are you ready to work hard? He said, I was already working hard. I said, okay, let me rephrase that. Are you ready to work harder? He said, of course. And listen, he's such a humble young man with a big smile. I just love his personality. All the brothers are really cool, but I find Mikhail, he gets so excited about certain things, and yet he's still humble.
Oh, so you know them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like that about them, and I wish both of them nothing but the best. Hopefully, Jerkson, you join the crew soon too. I don't know. Yeah. So then we have all 3 of the brothers in the pot.
But I heard them saying there's a 4th brother who plays cricket.
There is? I don't
That's
know
what
about the 3.
someone was telling me. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm familiar with 3 guys.
Yeah.
3. Yeah. Okay.
So time for me to kick you out.
Okay, I'm
and
leaving already.
I take no pleasure in this.
It was fun. It was fun. For those who listened, we enjoyed you today. Thank you for your contribution. Same place, same time tomorrow. Unfortunately, I won't be here tomorrow, but I will be here on Friday. Have a great day, y'all. And remember, if you can't, be good.
This is why I'm squeezing out. I'm squeezing out every little minute.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. See you on Friday.
Okay, I'll see you Friday. Okay.
Alrighty,
Spin Cycle Power Hour next.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Pump up the volume, pump up the volume.